I'm going to do it?
Go ahead.
All right. The anything and everything, Justin and Eric.
Hold it up in front of the camera.
There you go. See, you got to hold it in front of the camera. Be smart.
Yeah.
The Anything and Everything podcast, Justin and Eric. Are we doing the counter clock? No, we're just going off the 2 counts.
You do this part. Go ahead. Say it.
What? Eric and Justin's Anything and Everything podcast, episode 3. Take 1.
Went to the Avs game.
I know. How was that, man?
That was great.
Yeah, that was the opening night, right?
Yeah, it was opening night.
Yeah, dude,
the home opener.
Yeah, that had been badass. So
it was cool.
The Kings?
No, it was against the Utah
named
Steelers.
Yeah, the freaking Mammoth or something like that, right?
I'm gonna call them the hockey club.
Yeah, man, ain't that some bullshit? Like they I mean that.
It took you guys that long to figure out a name, and that's what you come up with. You steal somebody else's name.
Yeah, I mean they totally jacked our lacrosse, and they're a badass lacrosse team too.
Yeah, and the logo is almost the same.
Really, I haven't even really seen it. I just I don't know.
It's the same. If you're a graphic designer, you just take the same layout and just kind of tweaked a couple things, and that's how you made it.
That's kind of lame. I mean, come on, Utah. You could have done better, I think.
Yeah, that's what Utah does.
Well, I mean,
Sorry.
Hey, man.
Okay.
I just, it is what it is. I get where you're coming from, but I'm not going to give it to him. I say Peyton Manning just came here.
Okay, so if Peyton Manning was on any other team because he went there, that general manager didn't win a Super Bowl?
Nah.
Even if it's not John Elway?
Yeah, if it wasn't John Elway.
Okay, so we're not going to get any valid information out of this guy
out of that
at
one.
all.
I just don't like Elway.
Because he can't get above his little hatreds.
I can't. I'm sorry. But they did win.
Yeah.
But it wasn't
because
because
the
of
Cardinals have?
Hey, we showed up.
How many does Elway have as himself, and how many does the
himself?
Cardinals have?
I think it was a team effort.
Wait, how many has Elway been on that they won the Super Bowl, and how many Super Bowls has your team won?
My team's never won.
Thank you.
That don't matter.
So take a back seat, hater.
No. It don't matter.
He's just a hater. So anyway, Elway was the general manager of the Denver Broncos.
But Peyton came here on his own because he felt it was the best fit. It wasn't because of Elway. I'm sorry. That's just where I'm going to stand on that one. You're not going to change my mind on it.
Well, how did it get to be the best fit if Elway didn't put that team together?
It was
you
just
don't sound like you're coming from a very good spot here, bro.
It was just the best fit.
Okay.
I mean...
Epstein is Pizzagate.
You start to realize how fucking easy it is to manipulate an entire population of 366 million people. It's not much harder than herding fucking sheep or goats.
For the anything and everything
And shit.
podcast, Justin and Eric.
Wait, now?
Huh?
Now is it?
Is it?
Is it now?
It is. I don't know.
Is it now?
It looks
It's
like it's
now?
moving.
It's going.
Okay. All right.
I
Ready?
think it's going.
Cool. Oh, we didn't do our click in. We can do click. And
What is up, everybody?
what's going on?
Hope
y'all?
you like that little intro there. It's just a little throwback to where we started and where we're at now, kind of thing. So,
It's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah.
Just go back. I mean, just even, the mics have changed, gotten bigger and better and all that good stuff.
we have
And
stuff on the walls.
yeah, man, better, just not just blank. It catches your eye,
Man.
gives you a little bit of what we're about a little bit, so.
Yeah, we, as you can tell, we like to rock. When I got here earlier, Eric was jamming on the drum set.
Yeah, I actually had a few
working
minutes.
up a sweat.
Dude, like my booty crack was sweating. That's
It's
how
gonna be hurting tomorrow.
I am. I'm old, man, but it was fun as hell.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed my moment of solitude and rocking out, man.
That's awesome,
so,
man.
Dude,
That's good stuff.
Like I said, man, I was like, shoo.
That's
So,
cool. Well, and that's the thing. We really enjoy the fact that we get to talk to you guys. We get to
For
put
sure.
these videos out every week. We get to show you some cool stuff. We get to
Yeah.
talk about that cool stuff, and hopefully get some more engagement going on in this next season. But this was the end of our first season, was 13. So that's where we're rolling. Is we're doing 13 episode seasons.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we are blessed. We get to come in here and record this stuff, talk to you guys. I love working on this stuff as hard as I work on it.
Dude,
yes,
this
it's
man-
a lot, but at the same time, I love doing it. So,
Like, he tells me all, and I'm like, sometimes I'm like just lost on the lingo, but man, this man puts in a lot of work, and I
bro,
appreciate
we got to do
his-
this
his
and we got to
much.
do that. He's like, all right.
I'm like, all right, but he does put in a lot of hard work, and I appreciate all his effort, and I appreciate y'all for just even tuning in and subscribing and watching us, and even if you have a bad comment, hey, it's a
Be nice
comment,
to hear
and
it.
that means you're still watching,
Yeah.
right? So hey, we'll take it.
We can have conversations. What we
Yep, for
don't
sure.
want is somebody not talking.
Yep.
That's
and,
when things go awry.
Yeah, and so keep leaving the comments, and we still got stickers and working on other things, and hey, like that, we can't thank you enough for
definitely thank you to all our subscribers,
passing
everybody
the
that's
word.
watched the video,
For
everybody
sure.
that's listened on any other platforms. We're just getting started with this, so we're really, really eager to keep pushing forward, and we really love everybody for helping us out. Seriously, It means the world to us. So we're just going to show you some different stuff, and we'll see you next week, man. Thank you guys so much for
Rock
sure.
on, y'all. Thank you so much. Keep it up. Pass the word. Let us
sure.
know if you see our stickers around too, man.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're going to put some up in this episode. So we've been seeing some people sending us some pictures. They've been around.
Yeah, man. So, keep your eye out. Let us know, man.
Yeah.
And if you guys want some as well,
Hit us
let us
up.
know. Yep,
There's all
for sure.
kinds of ways now.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Thank you.
The Kirk universe rabbit hole somehow just reached a whole new level. This one's gonna f you up. So this is Erika Kirk. Another Erika Kirk with the same name of the late Charlie Kirk's wife. Same name, same unconventional spelling, both Americans with very blue eyes and blonde hair. Some even arguing they kinda look alike, but oh, that's barely even the tip. Both were wives of political figures, men who actively engaged in some form of politics. Both their husbands were very outspoken Republicans, Claude Kirk and Charlie Kirk, both CKs. Both of them also passed away in September. Today's Erika Kirk is nicknamed Miss Arizona. The other one went by Madam X, which she was called because people said she just kind of came out of nowhere and was all over the spotlight all of a sudden. Sound familiar? The OG Erika Kirk passed away in April 2023 in Palm Beach County, Florida, a region which just recently became the world's largest investor in a certain country that shall not be named and is completely irrelevant to anything. She passed away at the age of 88, and the current Erika Kirk was born in 1988. They're so similar, even Google's search AI is calling them the same person, but that's probably just a hallucination, no big deal. I think the better question is, are the rest of us hallucinating right now?
People are pretty much too stupid to do it.
The events are real. The story behind them are almost never real.
Best we can offer them is the feeling of participation.
We are entering the age of confirmation porn.
Which is saying people are dumb, so spoon feed them stuff that dumb people can handle.
They will comply with the policies that we put in effect anyway.
Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
Manufactures public consent for what the elite want to do.
Just like a magician knows something about your mind and how you're going to make meaning of a situation, and they know they can manipulate that meaning making that you're doing.
And it's very difficult for people to admit that I have been manipulated.
Everyone feels it, like reality is slightly misaligned. Time feels faster, people feel colder, and the world is moving like it's on autopilot. So here's the question. What if this off feeling isn't random? What if it's engineered? Because once you connect the dots, you start seeing the same pattern everywhere.
That should terrify you to the deepest part of your core, that none of this is real, or none of this is what it seems like.
Back in the 1970s, a behavioral scientist named John B. Calhoun ran an experiment that still feels like it shouldn't exist. He called it Universe 25. So please, pay attention to this part, because once you see what happened inside this perfect world, you'll recognize it immediately.
But it was an experiment with a few hundreds of individual mice compartments, and they provided them with unlimited food, water, nesting, no predators, stable temperatures, and frequent cleaning. Basically, the definition of abundance as far as mice go. And the interesting aspect of this experiment is that at first the population doubled, it grew very quickly, but then it leveled off, and certain really negative social things started happening, like mothers neglected to kill their young, violent attacks and hypersexual activity became widespread. Some quote-unquote beautiful ones, largely inactive, well-groomed mice withdrew, refusing to mate or interact. So all of these kind of societal qualities that we see as negative for the functioning of a society started to emerge because of the abundance. And finally, the collapse. The reproduction rates crashed, social dysfunction spread to the next generation, and eventually just went extinct. It didn't just plummet to a low level, it plummeted steadily to zero, despite the fact that there was ongoing resource abundance. As this description states, the last miles died surrounded by untouched food and water.
And this is where the pattern changes. Because once you understand how a perfect world still collapses, you start looking at the symptoms, and you start looking at the code underneath. Distraction isn't just a side effect anymore. It becomes the mechanism. A population that's overstimulated, exhausted, and constantly pulled in 10 directions doesn't need chains. It just needs a feed. And when that happens, people don't even realize they're being guided. Listen to this.
People are part of an unruly mass mob thing. And the best we can offer them is the feeling of participation, is a good simulation of democracy, and one that feels good enough that they will comply with the policies that we put in effect anyway. So you get a few rich people to be the elite who decide how things are, and then they hire the most clever public relations people they could find to get the public to agree with whatever they said.
And if you're watching this thinking, okay, but this can't be happening to me, that's exactly how it works. Because the strongest manipulation isn't the one you see, it's the one you refuse to accept.
That is absolute engineered reality. And it's very difficult for people to admit that I have been manipulated.
And that's the part people resist the most. Not because it's hard to understand, but because it's hard to accept. Once you admit you were influenced, you have to admit you weren't fully in control. So the brain protects itself. It says, This is me. This is just who I am now. But what if it isn't? What if your thoughts, your reactions, even your mood, are being shaped by the environment around you? By constant pressure, noise, repetition, and systems designed to keep you predictable. Not mind control, just a slow rewrite in plain sight. Watch this.
The biggest thing that people need to say is this isn't me. This isn't me. This is an engineered reality version of me. And what are those people responding to? Why am I getting mad at the left or mad at the right? Context. My perception got shifted, then my context, and then my permission to treat people like shit, or, however I choose to react to that situation.
We don't make decisions based on reality. We make decisions based on the version of reality we're shown. And the problem is, that version can be distorted. Not with lies you can easily spot, but with information that's technically true in the wrong frame. Because once your inputs are controlled, your outputs become predictable. Listen to this.
And we use information to make sense of the world, to make choices that are aligned with whatever our goals are and our values and what's meaningful to us. And what we hope is that the information that's around us is mostly true and representative of reality, so that we can use that to make choices that will be effective. When I say broken information ecology, it means that we can't trust that most of the information coming in is true and representative of reality and will inform good choice making. And so then this is where we have to get into, okay, so where does information come from, right? Signals are being shared by people and by groups of people that have shared agency, like corporations and governments and political parties and religions and whatever, right? And so we want to start getting into, why do people share information other than just sharing what is true and representative of reality? This is actually a really key thing to start to understand.
Here's where it gets dangerous. Because most people think manipulation means fake events, like everything is staged, like nothing is real. But that's not how it works. A lot of the events are real. The suffering is real. The problems are real. The control happens in the story you're given about it. So let me give you a quick mental exercise. Pick any major headline from the last year. Any crisis, any scandal, any breaking news. Now ask yourself one question. What is this story training me to feel? Fear? Anger? Hopelessness? Tribal loyalty? Because when you control the emotion, you control the behavior. And once your behavior is predictable, you don't need to control you. You just need to steer the narrative.
The events are real. The story behind them are almost never real. So when you see something happen, the event is happening. The story behind it and the entire thing is usually some kind of theater production. There's something happening there where we are in engineered reality. And if you look at that engineered reality matrix, you can just clearly see that so many of these things are engineered. And I'm not saying there's actors being hired and things like that, but I'm saying the situations are engineered. You see a big catastrophe happen the moment some big embarrassing thing is about to get released. And it's every time.
Okay, so if all of this is true, then here's the real question. What do you do about it? Because the goal isn't to live paranoid, the goal is to stop being played without even realizing it. And there's one line that explains the whole escape plan better than anything else. Take a look.
Program or be programmed, which I started out meaning it slightly facetiously. And the more I talk about it, and the more audiences I've engaged with about this topic, the more I mean it literally. You are either making the software or you are the software. There's really almost no middle ground. You are either participating in the creation of the reality in which we're living, or you're just in it. I don't know of a real way to remain conscious of the world without participating actively in the world. In other words, there isn't this place left that I was hoping there would be as an author. There is no sort of non-participant observer perfect place, you know, where you can literally see everything that's going on while you stand still. You actually have to be, you're in this one way or the other, and you're either being swept along the current, by the current, or you're helping make that current.
It doesn't matter how smart you are if you never realize when you're being programmed. And the worst part is, it rarely feels like control. It feels like normal life. It feels like everyone thinks this now. You don't notice it in one big moment. You notice it in patterns. The same phrases, the same outrage, the same jokes, the same hot takes spreading across thousands of people like a script. And if you want to see what that looks like in real time, Chase gives 2 examples that are almost too obvious once you hear them.
So matching narrative is number 1. A matching narrative means that I'm hearing pretty much the same messaging from media outlets, celebrity influencers, which is number 2, and authority. So people that are in a position of social authority, not like cops and lawyers and judges, but people in social authority, like pop singers, and I won't say any names, pop singers, the most popular pop singers, all saying the same shit on social media. That should terrify you to the deepest part of your core, that none of this is real, or none of this is what it seems like.
It's not even about fake or real anymore. It's about what gets amplified and what gets buried. Because you'll watch thousands of people who don't know each other suddenly use the exact same words. Same captions, same opinions, same enemy, same we all agree on this now. One week it's the same new fear, next week it's the same new outrage, then the same new distraction. And you're just trying to keep up, scrolling, reacting, moving on. But here's what nobody tells you. If your attention can be steered, your reality can be steered. Because attention is the entrance point. If you control what someone looks at long enough, you control what they start believing is normal. And that's why the only real escape isn't information, it's attention. This is what Daniel explains better than anyone. Take a look.
If I want to be able to make sense of the world well, I have to work at that. And if I want to be able to make sense of the world better than I currently do, like attention requires being trained, just like muscles require being trained. Thinking clearly requires being trained.
The point of this video isn't to make you afraid. It's to make you aware. Most people think freedom means having options. But real freedom starts earlier than that. It starts with what you allow into your mind, before you even make a decision. Because if your attention is being pulled all day, your thoughts don't feel controlled. They just feel borrowed. So here's the real test. Not, what do I believe, but who benefits from me believing it? Not, is this true, but what does this story make me do next? Does it make me calmer, clearer, stronger, or does it make me reactive, divided, exhausted? Because this is how the system wins. Not by breaking you in one day, but by keeping you in a permanent state of noise, until you stop noticing what you've become. So if you want to break the pattern, you don't need to know everything. And that's why the most dangerous place to live is not a dictatorship. It's a world where everything is comfortable. Everything is instant, and nobody knows why they feel empty. So I'll leave you with this.
It's fascinating because we're creating technologies, and this is what AI is proposing to our future generations as a problem to solve, which is AI may very well create abundance. And so we will be like these mice, potentially. Whether it's AI or other kinds of technologies that increasingly give more and more to all of us. And it is a thing that is good, decrease the amount of suffering in the world, increase the quality of life. But as we reach towards that abundance, the fabric that connects us, rooted in our biology that's developed by evolution, might create a real challenge for us.
The best way to gain control of the most intelligent, powerful species on the planet would be to completely divide them from the love within themselves. As soon as they are old enough to begin creating an understanding of who they are, force them into a system that teaches them that it is wrong to be yourself if yourself is different from what is accepted as normal. Confuse them about their own biological makeup so that they think that permanently altering their body is the answer to happiness. Require their daily attendance at an institution that makes them focus only on the information that is provided. Make them attend that institution from age 5 until an adult and repeatedly test them on the information so that it becomes their truth. Give them an explanation to everything so that they never have a chance to make their own assumptions of the world. Scold them and humiliate them if they suggest an opinion that opposes that of their authorities. Keep reminding them of how cruel their ancestors were to each other in the past and broadcast how cruel they are to each other in the present. Only show them tragedies on the news so that they live in fear and think the worst of one another. Convince them that their species used to be that of an incognizant wild animal. Make them think that their very existence is so incredibly random that they lack purpose and struggle to make sense of a creator. Tell them that their kind is as smart as they've ever been so that they don't question the integrity of the system that they're in. Provide them idols with artificial beauty and use them as examples of what it is to look perfect so that they are never content with their own appearance and can't help but to compare themselves amongst each other. Create addictive digital platforms that rank them by numbers so that they base their self-worth off of the amount of followers that they have and are never satisfied.
First thing we did was walk by the office about 2 hours before the protest started, and after seeing the signs were carefully laid out already, we knew it was only a matter of time until we saw this.
All right, so you can see that none of this is grassroots. This is all paid for. Hey, how you doing, guys? Where are we headed with these signs?
We're good, Will.
Where are we going here? You guys are saying that this is grassroots, but this does not look very grassroots. You guys doing this for free? Look at this, guys. See this? All the same. Yeah, we're going to Columbus Circle with you guys. We'll see you there. Alrighty. Well, show this to people that say that any of this is grassroots. Show it to them. Show them this clip. So all these signs that you see laid out right here are going to Columbus Circle for a protest that Roy Neville Singham is paying for, okay? A CCP billionaire who's trying to sow division into this country. He needs to be looked at, Roy Neville Singham. Oh, here we go, more signs. Oh my God, is this enough, guys? Wow. So let's just see roughly how many signs these are. They all say PSL, probably George Soros is involved with PSL.
This is a quick recap of how PSL is connected to Soros and how they send people to protest to prevent independent journalists like me from speaking to protesters. This happened way back at the Hands Off Iran protest back in June. When I went to just ask the guy a question, this gentleman wearing a shackled by the occupier shirt in Arabic came to stop my interview.
Okay. Hey man, can I ask you a question? Why are you stopping people from doing interviews? Can I ask you guys why you're doing that? You want to keep walking? Yeah, fake point somewhere that you need to go.
Now this guy is another professional protester. Take a look at this. You see how he's the middle one here with the director of the People's Forum occupying Fox News? Now that's all normal behavior for these guys, but here's him getting arrested. Little less normal, but still par for the course. But what was he arrested for? Now, I found an article of him getting out of jail. You can clearly see it's him. It's the same tattoo, and the article says it's for the Columbia protest that took place. But yet there's no sign of him actually being a Columbia student. So when Eric Adams did say that there were outside agitators, maybe this is one of them. Now, it looks like he works with the PSL. You can see he doesn't like getting his picture taken. Now, the PSL's fiscal sponsor is the Progress Unity Fund, and we know from last episode that the sponsor of the Progress Unity Fund is the Tides Foundation. George Soros gave the Tides Foundation $40 million, so this is yet again another Soros soldier. It's important to note that after October 7th, PSL put out a statement that said resistance is justified when people are occupied free Palestine. Now, they don't hide their love of terror either by just putting Hezbollah flags on their flyers.
Answer Coalition, Progress Unity Fund. If you look at this over here, you can see answercoalition.org, which is funded by the Progress Unity Fund, which is funded by George Soros. So you got George Soros and you got Roy Neville Singham funding millions of dollars into this country, trying to sow division. And now everyone will see that none of this is natural. It comes from an office that he owns called the People's Forum on 37th Street. And what avenue? It's like 7th Avenue, I think. We gotta load this into a van. Well, we're going back in. Amazing. Oh, we'll be here for all of it. Where to now? We're going to Columbus Circle, I thought. Oh, they're gonna try to bring this back inside. They're gonna try. We know where it's going. We know they're going to Columbus Circle. All right, we'll be waiting for you guys. You see American flag in there? No. Palestine, Cuba, huge Palestine flag for socialist literature. Okay? This is about socialism. Don't be mistaken. This is not about Palestine. This is about instilling a socialist Marxist hellscape inside of the United States. Right now, they have no choice because we checked to see, right? We checked to see that if they have a back door and didn't see a back door. So they've got no choice but to come out here and a van's gonna drive up and they're gonna load the signs in. It says the People's Forum, a movement incubator. A movement incubator is really interesting language to use for a paid protesting incubator. Okay, so this guy's gonna drive up and they're gonna load all the signs into this car right here. Alrighty? Come with me. Here we go. Let's load them all into this van. You hired a service for this? Okay. Go back up. Let them get inside. Alrighty. Roy Neville Singham paid these folks $20 million through the Goldman Sachs Philanthropy Fund, a donor advised fund. He did it honestly, but he was caught. This is obvious sowing of division in the United States. If Elon Musk had not bought an X, these people would have won. See for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Witness this. And we will go with them to the protest. Look at this. Got more stuff here. We got the white signs. Okay. Now, would there even be a protest without these people? No. What signs would they be holding? Nothing. They wouldn't even know that there is a protest because it's all organized by the People's Forum. This is a movement incubator. A movement incubator. Oh, they got a second car. So here he says the second car is here. 2 cars to load up all their signs. This is not an Uber or a Lyft that's picking them up. This is a well-organized and calculated process. So we've got a ramp. We're gonna load in all the signs on the megaphones that they chant the downfall of America. Here's a giant Palestine flag. I thought this was an Iran protest. Why is there a giant Palestine flag? Okay, you ready to go?
What is wrong?
What is wrong with us?
You are such a cowardly piece of shit.
Why?
You are.
Who pays me? YouTube pays me. My viewers pay me.
How much
by
money
watching.
do you get? This is not real journalism. You're a complete fake journalist.
Okay. Did you or did you not get $20 million from Roy Neville Singham to protest? Did you or did you not?
How much money do you get for your right-wing bullshit? That's what I want to know.
Okay, so you can look on YouTube on Social Blade. You can see exactly how much I earn. Yeah, take a photo of me as if there isn't already a photo. Why are you taking a photo of me as if you don't already know who I am?
I don't understand.
You're all sick of me. So what are you going to do about it?
What am I going to do about it?
Yeah, what are you going to do about it?
Well, I don't have to do anything about it because you don't bother us that much. You don't.
Clearly, I am because you're videoing me.
You're just a complete idiot. You're a fake journalist.
I'm a fake journalist.
I think that you should.
What have I done that's
feel
fake?
Ashamed of yourself every single day.
You should feel ashamed for yourself for sowing division and
sidewalk. Get a real job, be a real journalist, and do something for something in your life.
How can you say with a straight face for me to get a real job? How can you keep a straight face and say that? Did you or did you not get $20 million from Roy Neville Singham? You can't deny it. There it is.
Meet Layan Fulihan. She's a paid protester. Her base salary is $70,000 with an additional compensation of $8,649. So who is this woman getting paid $80K a year to protest? Layan is a Columbia alum with a Palestinian background. She holds a full-time staff position as an educator at the People's Forum as she protests all around New York City. Here she is alongside Taher, another paid protesting leader that we've exposed. Roy Neville Singham pays Layan to travel. That's why you see her speaking in Washington, D.C. at another protest. None of this is grassroots. Know that. Here she is being paid to argue with the police as she blocks traffic outside Columbia University.
Into the pen. You gotta go in the pen. You are blocking pedestrian traffic. You are blocking pedestrian traffic.
Here she is again with Taher alongside Mahmoud Khalil. When she's arrested, Singham is there to bail her out. You can see the People's Forum announce that her and David Chung, another paid protester who gets paid $75,000 a year to protest, were both arrested. You can get David Chung's Friedman file that consists of never-seen-before research right now if you scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the description or in my bio. Layan speaks at the People's Forum about her Marxist agenda as she carefully and subtly ushers in Islam into the West. They actually teach classes advocating for Marxism at the People's Forum. Layan celebrated Hamas's atrocities on October 7th. She tweeted out on October 7th, "Long live the Palestinian resistance." She frames the US and Israel as joint imperialist forces committing engineered genocide.
But an end to all U.S. imperialist complicity and engineered genocide against the Palestinian people and all oppressed people across the world.
Layan reposts words from Nasrallah, the former leader of Hezbollah, saying, "Who would have thought so many young people would support Palestine? This woman in America is being paid money to promote the words of terrorists who have killed American servicemen." Here she is speaking in Spanish in Venezuela at the International Solidarity Conference that Nicolas Maduro spoke at. Here she is defending the regime.
Yo soy de raíces palestinas y estamos en un mundo totalmente diferente, cambiado por la resistencia palestina, porque aunque veo cada día los horrores del imperialismo estadounidense, los sionistas, lo que están haciendo a nuestro pueblo, yo realmente siento que estamos en un momento en que todo el mundo está más y más consciente que tenemos el mismo enemigo. Y eso nos une. Venezuela, Cuba son en el frente de ese movimiento internacionalista y tenemos que defender a Venezuela al mismo tiempo que defendemos a Palestina y llevamos la lucha, avanzamos la lucha.
Layan calls for revolution in her classes, talking about how the Russian Revolution was the first time workers and peasants seized state power and held on to it. That's what these people are paid to make happen right here in America. Just how badly has Layan been radicalized? How much does she want revolution in America? This much.
We have two options. Either victory or death. There is no in between.
And we went to that protest that they were preparing for and just look what we saw.
You can see it's all the same signs that we saw them loading into the van. You see how, what would they be holding if not for those vans?
In massive numbers for Palestine. Over 2 years.
Oh, it's nice to see
We will continue to come out to the streets anytime we demand.
Nice to see you. No, do your thing.
You are 100% certain that there are 1,000 plus Al-Qaeda trained fighters within the United States borders.
Al-Qaeda says they trained and deployed 1,000 for this attack. First off, I think there's more than 1,000 Al-Qaeda members in the United States. They did have about 1,400 in the Hamas attack, so the number is not off from what they did in the first round of attacks. Because this was a continuation, so they planned October 7th first, and then they rolled into planning this after. And they're not preparing America for this October 7th round of attacks that are coming here.
You're mentioning law enforcement being proactive. I don't see that happening no matter what.
Scott Mann and I went and met with Governor DeSantis and briefed this to him, and he said, I've received no threat reporting at all on terrorism from the federal government. So anyone who's like, yeah, this is all happening behind the scenes, don't worry, everyone's prepared, our law enforcement knows. Most of the country have never heard Al-Qaeda's planning an attack here.
How did the CIA and Mossad manage to track down the Iranian Supreme Leader's secret compound?
It all started around 8 in the morning. CIA tracked some high-level Iranian leaders at this building right in the heart of Tehran. U.S. intelligence shared a critical tip with their Israeli counterparts. For months, they had been quietly hacking into Iranian communication channels using Space Force low-orbit satellites. But pulling off a strike isn't that simple. In the first wave, they had to neutralize a larger number of Iran's anti-air defense systems. This critical step cleared the airspace for a massive strike force of around 200 Israeli jets. But this area is highly fortified, so how do you destroy a deeply buried target like this? Well, they use bunker busters. Their delayed fuses punch through deep concrete before detonating. This is part 1. How exactly did Israel and the United States manage to assassinate one of the most heavily protected men on the planet? The answer? An unprecedented joint operation. For months, the CIA and elite Israeli units waged a shadowy intelligence war. Using a web of surveillance satellites, intercepted comms, and human spies, they mapped Ayatollah Khamenei's every move in absolute secrecy. Utilizing a sophisticated web of low Earth orbit surveillance satellites, intercepted encrypted communications, and highly placed human assets deep within the regime, they painstakingly mapped Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's every movement, security protocol, and daily pattern. The vulnerability, the Pasteur Street Summit. The critical breakthrough came when American intelligence identified a fleeting yet massive vulnerability, the highly classified Morning Summit. Top-tier Iranian military commanders, security advisors, and political officials were converging on the heavily guarded Pasteur Street compound in the heart of central Tehran. Shielded by layers of urban infrastructure, elite guard details, and what they believed was an impenetrable umbrella of state-of-the-art air defenses. Like the homegrown Baver missiles as well, the S-400 radar system located all over the city. The leadership gathered in a false sense of absolute security. Here comes part 2. How many aircrafts were involved in taking out a single target? The focal point of the operation was Beit Rabari, Khamenei's highly secure official residence and centralized office compound located in the heart of downtown Tehran. While they used around 200 aircrafts, the localized strike on Beit Rabari was the anchor of a massive, flawlessly synchronized aerial campaign. Flew all the way from Israel with flying oil tankers, the largest military flyover in its history. The Israeli Air Force deployed an armada of approximately 200 fighter jets equipped with GPS bunker buster bombs. As stated, he was actually occupying a shallower subterranean facility, the free-falling guided bomb, which the IDF deployed as the munitions. It easily pierced the earth and reinforced concrete, triggering a catastrophic collapse of the entire underground structure. According to leaked Israeli intelligence reports, exactly 30 heavy munitions were dropped directly onto the Supreme Leader's compound to guarantee total structural failure. Obliterating such targets relies on specialized bunker buster munitions equipped with delayed action fuses, allowing them to physically penetrate deep into the ground and concrete before detonating. As a dedicated specialized squadron delivered the 30 bunker busters directly to Khamenei's compound, the rest of the armada operated simultaneously across Iranian airspace. They dropped hundreds of munitions to cripple over 500 targets, instantly blinding critical air defenses and neutralizing ballistic missile silos. Here comes part 3, and this is Iran's mistake. How the Iranian made a very big mistake to protect its leader. Because he was occupying a shallower subterranean facility, the deployed munitions easily pierced the earth and reinforced concrete, triggering a catastrophic collapse of the entire underground structure. Intelligence sources later revealed a critical tactical flaw in his positioning. He was not sheltering in one of the compound's 2 deepest maximum security bunkers facilities that would have required the heaviest, highly specialized U.S. ordnance to crack. If he had switched places, he would have been at least safe. And here is part 4, how many were exactly killed. While the complete list of eliminated targets is still undergoing global intelligence assessment, the strike successfully decapitated Iran's operational leadership in a single devastating blow. Killed alongside Khamenei were top-tier military figures, most notably Major General Mohammad Papour, the head of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, and top national security advisor Ali Synchrony. Tragically, the blast also claimed the lives of several of Khamenei's family members who were present. But the first wave with 200 jets and U.S. Tomahawk cruise missiles did not just hit his compound. The U.S. cruise missiles was the one to take out anti-air defense system, while the 200 IDF jets took out the Iranian leadership. All in all, US and Israeli forces struck approximately 2,900 targets across Iran, according to US Central Command, in just one day. But what weapon was used to penetrate layers of concrete? Well, they have this bunker buster bomb. It has a laser sensor at the front, and just behind that are adjustable fins. In the midsection, there is a warhead that weighs approximately 650 pounds containing tritonal explosive. This is a mixture of 80% TNT and 20% aluminum powder. Finally, we have the retractable fins at the rear. To give you a better sense of its size, comparing it to a person can be helpful. The casing has a length of approximately 19 feet long, which translates to around 5 meters. This section is made of an artillery barrel, which is very strong, and has a diameter of 14.5 inches, which translates to around 37 centimeters, making it relatively narrow. They intentionally made the smaller cross-sectional area. This means the bomb displaces less material, whether earth or concrete, as it penetrates layers of reinforced bunkers or building, thus allowing it to travel further to almost 100 meters. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary 6-story residential building, complete with a solar-paneled roof. However, there's more to this structure than meets the eye. What makes this building particularly noteworthy is its underground basement, which is rumored to contain a network of tunnels. These tunnels are believed to serve as emergency escape routes, adding to the site's strategic importance. We've put together a few different scenarios to help you better understand the IDF's assassination tactics. The CIA and IDF would employ spies and agents to gain information on a high-value target. With a clear line of sight, the operative waits for confirmation that the high-value target has arrived at the meeting point. This target reportedly arrived at underground headquarters in the southern suburbs for a meeting with several top leaders. The tip-off was allegedly received by Israeli officials on the afternoon of Saturday, September 27th. A fighter jet was expected to target and illuminate the building using its laser targeting pod, focusing on one of the specific buildings. Subsequently, a dozen of F-15 jets dropped not one but 80 bombs of various types. The tip of the spear would have been the bunker buster bomb that can penetrate through this 6-story building, leveling all 6 structures to the ground and in the process eliminating Hassan Nasrallah in the action. Let's consider scenario 2. If an Iranian spy had not assisted the IDF, a Mossad agent or soldier might have been nearby, confirming Nasrallah's location or possibly illuminating the target with a ground-based laser. In this case, GPS coordinates would have been transmitted to the IDF. Once ready, the F-15 jets would have dropped around 80 bombs of different types, leveling the entire 6-building complex. The reason for dropping so many bombs was to ensure the elimination of a high-value target like Hassan Nasrallah. Unfortunately, the collateral damage resulted in a significant number of innocent civilian casualties, a tragic cost associated with this operation. And finally, we have scenario 3, which is the most likely. Hacking Hezbollah's communication system for the last 5 years to intercept encrypted messages without deploying any agents into Lebanon or Beirut. Upon learning that the Hezbollah leader had arrived at the building, an F-15 fighter jets flew and dropped barrage of bombs, eliminating the entire leadership inside the underground bunker. Out of the 80 bombs used, the IDF also deployed the Mark 82 weapon, the Bunker Buster, and the GBU-39, which were part of a purchase valued at around $3 billion from the US. Let's take a look at how this works. Step 1. First, a laser is used to illuminate the target, or GPS guidance is already assigned to it. Step 2. An F-15 jet flies near the illuminated target and the bomb is released. Step 3. Once the bomb is dropped, the guidance system at the front connects with the tail and fins. This enables the bomb to make precise adjustments, guiding it accurately to its target. Step 4. As mentioned, this is a bunker buster bomb designed to penetrate around 6 meters of reinforced concrete bunkers and can travel up to 100 feet of soft ground or buildings. Step 5. In the past, the GBU-28 has been equipped with a delay fuse like this one, allowing it to detonate after penetrating its target, rather than exploding on impact. The bomb contains 700 pounds of TNT, which generates a blast radius of several hundred meters, quite significant for a bomb of this size. As an engineering channel, we will also look into how these Mark 80 and 82 series of weapon can be turned into a guided bomb. When released, it falls just like a normal dumb weapon. As stated, the bomb can be fitted with a nose fuse, a tail fuse, or both simultaneously. Upon hitting the ground, the frontal fuse activates, burning the fuse conduit from the front to the back, thus creating a huge explosion. The alternative option is using the tail fuse FMU-139. This is usually used for delayed action and is set by the pilot. When it hits the target, the weight of the bomb will penetrate the concrete surface of a building, the fuse activates, and the conduit rod, which creates the 500-pound explosion after a few seconds as programmed. This can create a lot of damage considering its small $4,000 price tag.
We've got to talk about Iran. If you think Iran has always looked like this, I want you to pause for a second, because that belief didn't come from history. It came from just a bunch of repetition. There are people that are alive right now who grew up in Iran wearing jeans, listening to Western music, going to universities, falling in love openly, and then they watch their entire country just snap into something unrecognizable. And I think the part that most people miss is that Iran didn't evolve into this. It was taken. I've done several deployments across the Middle East, and you don't survive that without learning one critical distinction that I think all the headlines just completely erase, and the difference between a people and the system that cages the people. That's a big distinction I want to make right here, and this applies to all countries. But what you're seeing right now, the protests in Iran, the crackdowns, the silence when all the internet went dark the other day, that looks like chaos. That is memory colliding with fear, and I want to prove it to you. And once you understand how that collision happens, I think you're going to realize Iran is not an exception. Iran is a preview for the rest of the world. So what we're going to talk about is not a big story about religion. It's not even a story specifically about Iran. This is a story about how any modern educated civilization gets psychologically hijacked without realizing it until it's way too late. And by the end of this, you're going to see exactly where the takeover happened and the three paths that Iran is likely to take here in the next few months. In the 1960s and 70s, Iran was secular. They were educated, and they were culturally just alive. Tehran looked more like a European capital than a caricature of the Middle East. Women in Iran were doctors and lawyers and professors, and universities there were world class. So art and music and science were all just thriving in Iran. This was not a primitive society that was just waiting for someone to modernize them. They were already modern. And that detail matters a lot because it destroys a very convenient myth to the media. This idea that Iran's current state, where they're at right now, is some natural expression of Iran's culture. It is not. So what happened to Iran wasn't some cultural evolution. It was complete takeover, like an interruption. So first, the Shah, this is Mohammad Reza Shah, ruled with a lot of Western countries backing him, lots of oil money, and he got increasingly authoritarian, and corruption started growing, as it always does, even here in our country. All the dissent was crushed, and people started getting very, very resentful over time. And into that little pressure, and maybe in that void, this guy steps up that most people outside Iran still don't fully understand. And this is Ayatollah Khomeini. He is a cleric who's living in exile. And he didn't sell himself to everybody as some tyrant, but he wore this costume of being a liberator. So the revolution that happened in 1979 was not sold as religious extremism. It was sold as a moral cleansing. We need to morally cleanse the country. We need more justice. We need independence. It was sold as independence. And that was the first big psychological trap. And this is how civilizations get hijacked. All these revolutions that you see, it's not overthrowing power. What's really being shifted is who is allowed to use violence. That's the only thing that shifts. If you look back at this, who is allowed to use violence? That's every revolution. So once the Shah fell, the Islamic Republic didn't emerge overnight. It consolidated. And it was a slow, pretty methodical process. And the biggest leverage that they had was belief. They didn't use religion as a weapon. They used fear. So it was fear being used here, not religion. And it was a fear of, I'm going to be outcast. I'm going to be looked down on or judged. I'm going to be labeled immoral. I'm going to be on the wrong side of history. I'm going to be alone. I'm going to be lonely. So all these little new public rituals became compliance tests. And then speech became dangerous. Silence was a new way to just survive what was going on. So once belief becomes mandatory, truth becomes a liability. And that's the quote that you can write down for all psyops. If belief becomes mandatory, truth is a liability. So the Iran-Iraq war hardened everything like crazy. All kinds of sanctions came after this. The economy strained, surveillance got just ridiculously normalized. And informants, like people just telling on their neighbors, that just became ordinary. So an entire generation grew up knowing exactly what not to say, how to stay silent. And another grew up knowing nothing else. And here's a part that I think most people outside miss. This system that we're talking about in Iran didn't survive because all the people believed in the system. It survived because people learned how to live inside it, and they just treated it like it was a normal way, and suffering became just this thing that we go through in life. And that works until it doesn't, and you can see this in every country. So what happens is authoritarian systems don't collapse when people rebel against them. They collapse when their version of a story stops working on the people. So look at right now. There's people in the streets, they're fighting, they're rioting, there's all kinds of violence going on. Look very closely at who is protesting today. They're not extremists. They're students. They're professionals. They're descendants of an educated class. A lot of these people grew up hearing stories of a very different Iran. And this is through their parents, through photo albums. If you look at pictures of Iran in the 1970s, the 1960s, it is gonna blow your mind. The memories that are just kind of smuggled through time, filtering their way into the kids. So these protests, these people aren't asking for something new. They're asking for something that was stolen from them. And that is a massive distinction, and it's very important because if you have a population that remembers itself, suppression becomes extremely hard. And I'm going to say that again. When a population remembers itself, suppression becomes extremely hard. So now, if you layer in the modern Psyops battlefield, we have internet shutdowns, narrative fragmentation, foreign news amplification. We have this information scarcity from Tehran. When communication disappears, control increases, but confusion goes through the roof. And confusion is very useful for people like this because psyops don't usually create movements. Think about this. Psyops is not designed to manufacture movements. It's made to hijack movements that are already in progress. It's a lot easier that way. So you don't need to invent anger when it already exists. You just need to redirect it to fracture it in another direction. And that's what makes this moment right now very dangerous and so unpredictable. So Iran is under pressure from every direction at one time. They have economic collapse that they're facing. They're facing generational defiance, massive elite corruption, a lot of global scrutiny. They've got to obviously have a shitload of oil. Pressure does not guarantee change, but pressure always reveals the cracks every time. That's why I talk so much about paying attention to pressure. And this brings us to what actually matters right now, and this is what's going to matter to our lives here in the Western world. It's not what's happening right now that's important. It's what's going to happen next. And I think there are three paths that might happen here. Path number one is the Iron Fist. And it's the most familiar. The regime survives by hardening up. More repression, more surveillance, more arrests, more of these internet blackouts. So fear replaces legitimacy completely. It's just a rule by fear and it's worse than a dictatorship. So these people are complying because of the cost of dissent. So Iran doesn't change outwardly. It becomes probably, I would say, more brittle inwardly. And this path can last years, but it guarantees that it's going to rupture again in the future. So path number two is a fracture from within. And this one's a little bit quieter, and it's probably more realistic than people want to admit. So this is where the system splits. The elites start negotiating survival. All these reformist people and super hardline people quietly realign with each other, and you'll start seeing controlled reforms appearing. And it's just because they're super necessary. So it's an internal triage that the country kind of does on its own or with some help. But history shows this path very often emerges when insiders fear losing everything more than they fear change. So the country shifts, but slowly, probably carefully, and incompletely. And path number three is the break point. This is a rare path, but I think it's very possible, but it's also the most dangerous. This is where the psychological barrier collapses. So enough people start believing in the system, including all these parts of the security apparatus, and the monopoly on violence starts to fracture. That is when regimes fall really fast. And it's not because the protesters out there are super brave and badass. It's because the enforcement, the people doing the enforcing on the protesters, stop believing. This is the path that leads to chaos or rebirth or maybe both. And nobody ever controls how it ends. The real takeaway here is Iran isn't just a warning about religion. It's a warning about what happens when fear completely replaces consent of people and narrative completely eclipses and replaces legitimacy. This is about Iran losing its ability to say no quietly over time. The heaviness that I feel just talking about this, it's not just about Iran. What we're talking about here when it comes to Psyops, this is about what any society becomes when stories matter more than people. It's when a population forgets who they are. Somebody else is going to absolutely decide who they are. And once you see that mechanism, you're going to start seeing it everywhere, and you'll watch it play out here in the next few weeks with Iran. Hope it all goes well. See ya.